What's up, people? Welcome to your one-stop shop for all stories wrestling that happened this week. This is Rasslin Roundup Weekly. My name is Mekz, aka WrestleManiac UK, and I'm alongside my co-host Ignacio. Today's show is AEW heavy. We're talking Tony Kahn and his big announcement this past week, and we're going to talk about Revolution. We're obviously maybe about a couple hours out from the show starting, not too far away now. The first AEW pay-per-view of this calendar year. So looking forward to it. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Preview and predictions for that show. But first, guys, make sure you smash the like button and you have subscribed to Wrestling Republic on YouTube. Ignacio, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, Meeks. Pretty good. A lot of big news this week in the wrestling world, and with the pay-per-view tonight, winding down my birthday weekend. So we're gonna be winding out the weekend with the Revolution pay-per-view. We're gonna have a big old bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, a big birthday cake, and see what catastrophes are gonna go on tonight at the pay-per-view. We're gonna get into it.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday!
Thank you, sir.
What are you? What match would you say you're looking forward to most?
Oh, believe it or not, because I'm a big fan of hers and always have been a big fan of hers ever since I first saw her, Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker, because I think that's, given the card that we have so far, I think that's the longest telling story that they have on the card. And we'll get into as far as like the lack of stories that some of the matches have. And also because everything they've done ever since they started the program, MJF and CM Punk has just been brilliant. So looking forward to that too.
Cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Before we talk about Revolution, our thoughts and predictions, let's talk about this big announcement that was made by Tony Khan. Tony Schiavone opened up Wednesday's Dynamite alongside Tony Khan in the ring. And, you know, Tony Khan firstly took the opportunity. He's not someone that comes on camera at all. This is maybe the second time he's been, you know, live in the middle of the TV show, maybe third, but yeah, that's how many few times, you know. And he took the time to thank the fans, especially because they were in Jacksonville, to thank them, you know, for sticking with them during the pandemic and all that kind of stuff. And then he got into his announcement, which was he has purchased Ring of Honor. He owns all the rights to everything, all the, you know, production equipment, all the stuff, the tape library that, you know, was talked so highly of over the past couple of years, with everyone trying to bid for that tape library. And yeah, in terms of there's no kind of planning. It sounds like Ring of Honor still have plans to operate. This wasn't like a WWE buying WCW case and kind of shutting down WCW. It's more like, you know, they are going to come back in April, which was the plan. And apparently they've already got like tentative dates in the calendar for when they're going to do tapings and things like that. I guess the general thought right now is that Ring of Honor will serve as maybe NXT for AEW. It'll be somewhere to send wrestlers and things like that. But I guess from the statement that was made following the announcement, it seems like maybe the first thing they want to make sure they do is put that tape library out, make it accessible for fans, which makes me think that, you know, some sort of AEW service, you know, streaming service is on the way, and that tape library will live there as well, which I think is good news. But all around good news for a lot of us that, you know, some of our favorite wrestlers today, they've all, no matter what you're watching, they've all come from Ring of Honor in some way, shape, or form. They've all passed through there. So this is Ring of Honor being thrown yet another lifeline in their long story of a company. When the words left his mouth that this is what he had done in terms of purchasing Ring of Honor, what was your initial feelings and what's your thought on this acquisition?
Well, it's not going to be in terms of the way WWE bought out WCW 20 some odd years ago, or 22 years ago, or whatever. How it was a complete shutdown of the organization. That wasn't WWE's initial intention. They wanted to keep WCW alive in some sort of fashion, maybe stay on the TNT network. But then TNT didn't have anything to do. Turner didn't want to have anything to do with wrestling at the time. So they were trying to find another work. Anyway, it didn't work out in that fashion. So I know probably Tony Khan's intentions might be a little bit different. I've heard that just like you mentioned, that they wanted to turn it maybe into some type of developmental territory.
Yeah.
The only thing they have that's of value right now, imminent, is the tape library. And you got to remember, back when WWE brought WCW back in the day, WWE had its own 50, 40-year history to also accommodate or also go with the purchase of the WCW library. And then they come out with all these DVDs and so forth. Of course, DVDs aren't really a thing anymore. It's all about streaming now. So I don't think in and on itself, I don't think AEW has enough content in and on itself to have a big time streaming service or what have you. It would be mostly ROH stuff then. But that's the only thing they have of value as far as talent contracts and all that stuff. Remember, all these talents from ROH were either were they let go or released or what have you. Can you shine a little bit of light on that, Mekz, for me a little bit?
Sorry, I was on mute. So yeah, with December, when they were what's the word? When they disbanded after Final Battle, they said that they let everyone go from their contracts. That's what they said. I still think there are some people under contract and are working closely, namely the likes of Jonathan Gresham, that is the world champion. He's still going around defending the title everywhere, more or less. He's in England at the minute. So yeah, I think there's some people that are still under contract, but staying close with Ring of Honor, depending on their role. But everyone else has been released of their contract.
So you're saying, so you're saying, and then you're saying in April they have some tentative dates. That means Tony Khan has been negotiating for a while, not only on the buyout, but also on who's gonna participate or who's gonna compete on these dates and so forth. I think that's a little bit too early for them to.
April, sorry, just to interrupt. April is their Supercard of Honor, which is on WrestleMania weekend. Yeah. So that will be their big show, I guess. I know already Swerve Scott is on that card. As one of the bigger names. But I think these dates, it's not quite clear, but I think these dates of these tapings were already in place, maybe before Tony Khan had bought it. Or like you're saying, maybe he was negotiating this as well.
Sure.
It's not clear. But Supercard of Honor, I'm sure, will have a heavy AEW presence now that it's WrestleMania weekend and he's acquired it. Yeah.
So that is it going to be ROH or is it going to be like AEW number 2? Or that's what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, so until they can acquire more talent, the talent that were synonymous with ROH, they already have. They have Brody King, they have Jay Lethal, which is, as far as his run there in AEW, I think he's been subpar, very disappointing.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. I think it's a good thing for the industry, a good thing for those who and hopeful for those who thought maybe that they weren't going to have a chance or an opportunity to continue their careers in ROH and maybe other promotions because of ROH. I think it's a good opportunity for them to develop their skills, and those talents who are coming from the independent circuit have something else to look forward to now that WWE supposedly is not going to have anything to do with any indie wrestlers, which is bullshit. Because they signed one talent that I'm also very familiar with, and I absolutely love her work. Was Roxy. She's from Laredo, Texas, and phenomenal talent. They just signed her to NXT. Probably the number one. She's probably the number one female independent talent in North America, in my opinion. So,
but they made her go through a trial. They made her go with the trialists that are like, true, the other what do you call them? The college athletes and all of those kind of people. They didn't kind of just give her, the way into NXT. A lot of people kind of gave her stick. They gave WWE stick as well because they're like, this at the time, I think she was Ring of Honor Women's Champion.
Yes, she was.
When she went for that trial. So they said, this looks terrible sort of thing. But she's very talented, like you say.
Anyway, so right now it's just it's kind of just much ado about nothing. We're just going to see about what Tony Khan decides to do with the promotion, the product. If he wants to keep it as a developmental territory, then there's a lot of developmental talent that was let go from developmental and NXT that can be very useful in ROH and make a presence there. There's a lot of, as far as at the administrative level, that would be great for Tony Khan to manage that organization, like William Regal, like Samoa Joe, like Brian James, Road Dogg, and those individuals who were let go by NXT who did a phenomenal job with Triple H and Shawn Michaels there. And then you guess, then you got to say to yourself, well, all those people are very knowledgeable and they know what they're doing, but again, they don't have Triple H with them. Maybe Triple H was kind of like a filter for them, for their ideas. But I mean, whatever, we'll just have to wait and see what he decides to do. I think right now it's just, it is a big deal. I don't think it's as big a deal as maybe Tony would let it out to be. I don't think it's going to necessarily shock or shake the wrestling pillars of the wrestling world, just like the purchase of WWE with WCW. But, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with the entity and see what comes of it, see what talent we have going back and forth from AEW and ROH.
Yeah. Maybe it's, majority people that aren't getting consistent booking on AEW, they'll use ROH as somewhere to, give them kind of, little storylines and stuff in between. One other name that I guess we need to mention, since his name has come up this past week as well, tied to WWE at the minute, tied to still AEW, and now possibly this ROH stuff, Cody Rhodes. He still hasn't turned up anywhere. Apparently, the chat is that his talks with WWE have fizzled out. Apparently, I saw another report, I think it was today, that he's lost his leverage going to WWE. It begs the question, what's happened there? I would assume if they wanted him, they wanted to get him on TV as soon as possible to build him towards something at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they would keep him, till the Monday after, Monday Night Raw after Mania, although it's a possibility. And then, of course, people are still thinking that this is a work with AEW, that he's just going to return to AEW, that he may even show up tonight at the pay-per-view. And now people have also linked him to ROH. Like, how would he leave 2 weeks before this was announced? Is he going to be, the head booker over at ROH? Is he, he fell out with Tony Khan apparently due to money, 1, 2, creative differences. He lost his creative freedom. So maybe this was some type of bargaining tool that, he would go over to Ring of Honor and be the head booker over there. This is what some people are saying. What's your thoughts do you think there's anything in Cody Rhodes going to Ring of Honor, or, we're about 2 weeks on since he's left and things like that? Do you think he's going to end up in WWE, Ring of Honor, back to AEW? Like, where are you with it all now?
I think he's gonna. Because Cody's been talking about other stuff that he's want to do here and there in interviews here and there. I know he's mentioned he has some like political aspirations and so forth. I don't think he's set on that just yet. But I think what I do think he's going to do, I think after the back and forth maybe with WWE and the reports saying that negotiations for that, I think he's just going to take a little break, and I think that's probably the best thing for him. 6 months. That's not detrimental to your career. I mean, it's Cody Rhodes. Yeah. And, how am I supposed to miss you if you don't go away? You know what I mean? So I think it'd be good for him to go. I don't think he's gonna show up anywhere anytime soon, whether ROH or back with AEW. Or I don't think it's a work. I think, him and Brandy, their sort of sudden departure from AEW is very much real.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's been in negotiations with WWE since he was working on a, by mouth contract or whatever, without a contract. And I don't understand as far as his leverage, what leverage did he have over WWE, if any? I don't think it's other than I understand his appeal because much like The Miz, he does the reality shows and the Big Bang Boom show, whatever, where they get all these freaks and weirdos to do all this crazy shit and things of that nature. He brings some sort of another audience to him, I guess, whatever. He's a quasi celebrity in that manner, I guess. But other than that, I don't see what leverage he had over WWE. It's not like he had Vince McMahon in a hammerlock and, hey, sign me or give me this money or whatever.
Yeah.
No, he didn't have any leverage over WWE. I don't know what negotiating power he had over him. I think just what happened was Cody wanted some sort of creative control over what was he going to do in his character, and that stuff that stuff doesn't fly overall with WWE with certain people, of course, John Cena and Undertaker, and we've heard stories of that and it's their stuff and their input that they have. Brock Lesnar, of course, I'm pretty sure has had input on his creative over the years. He's mentioned it a couple of times, but I mean, I don't think we're going to see Cody anywhere anytime soon. I think it's good for him to take a break. I know he has a child at home and Brandy and so forth, so maybe this is a good time to spend some family time. Now, as far as his comeback, where will he end up? Who knows? It depends where he is. Is he comfortable enough financially where he can just say, well, I don't really care about the money. I just I want to do what I want to do. Do I want to book? Do I want to wrestle? Do I want to book and wrestle? And if that's the case, he's not going to get that in WWE. He'll probably get that back with AEW or ROH or Impact or wherever else. And then there's also Japan. Of course, I don't see him booking over there, of course, but he could take a tour over there. But one thing I know probably is more than likely that he's going to take an extensive break.
So with Cody, I think money isn't an issue, as in he's not short of money. However, money is like a status thing. Like, sure. I am of the positioning and on the card of this person, so I should be paid accordingly. I've just brought up the article around the leverage situation. It's Dave Meltzer, so take with that what you will. But you got Meltzer reported yesterday that WWE Creative was still working on plans for Cody Rhodes, with another report noting that he was still internally listed for WrestleMania. Meltzer took to Twitter saying that there has been a definite change in the Cody to WWE status, elaborating, saying Creative was told last night a change in Cody status from sure thing to uncertain. F4W reporter Ryan Frederick added some more context to Meltzer's comments, saying it's pretty obvious that he got a big offer from WWE when his deal was up. The announcement came he was leaving AEW, and the original offer he got was tore up, and he was offered less to the point where he might not even go. Pure Vince play there. Cody lost his leverage when leaving AEW announcement was made. Okay. The Cody saga is a whirlwind of conflicting information. Yeah.
Of course, no kidding. No shit. Look, I think probably they had something. Maybe by reading that, and let's take Dave's word for what it is. But I mean, I think maybe they had something in the works for Cody at WrestleMania, and he just didn't like it. If it doesn't make sense to Cody Rhodes, he's not going to do it. Yeah, and we saw that in AEW. You know what I mean? It's just, if it doesn't make sense to him, he's not going to do it. So and we've heard of contracts being negotiated right up until the day before the show. So for all we know, they could still be in negotiations, for the next month or so. WrestleMania is, little less than a month away now, I think. So, who knows what happens between now and then. But my opinion is that you're probably not going to see the Cody Rhodes anytime soon anywhere, and maybe back in the saddle later this year or something. But I think, maybe it was a creative control deal. I don't see how Cody and Brandy leaving AEW gives them any leverage or any less leverage or whatever. If Cody wanted to, he could have signed with the AEW. If Tony Khan would have given him the money he wanted. Now it triggered when you mentioned that, the whole money and status thing. I think it was said that Cody wanted the same contract or something similar to what CM Punk got. Right.
Yeah. I mean, he wants something up there.
I'm pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure if Cody still had his creative control or vice president duties or so forth, I'm pretty sure maybe he can negotiate something like that, but he was stripped of all that stuff. So I think at that point, he was just strictly a talent. And as a talent, you can always change storylines and stuff like that. But if you take yourself out of the world title picture and the main event picture, then, you're just an upper mid card guy. And is a CM Punk like contract gonna be paid to upper card guy, even though if you're gonna be even if you are Cody Rhodes, you know what I mean, you're pigeonholed to only one part of the card, you know what I mean?
And he did that to himself.
So So anyway, yeah, I think he's just going to take a break, and then we'll see what comes in from there. He's a phenomenal talent. I'm a big fan of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes' in-ring work and his booking. I think he has great ideas. I also think he's had a lot of stupid ideas. Don't get me wrong, we've seen that too. But I think he's got a great creative mind, and I like to see him because there is some realism to his creative and his work, and I like that. So I would like to see him in some creative aspect of the wrestling business, whether it be in AEW, ROH, or maybe even WWE.
Cool. We're still watching this space for Cody to see, the news all the time, where he's going to end up. Obviously, guys, we'll bring you the breaking news as soon as we have it across Rasslin Republic. But we are going to get into Revolution 2022. Like I said, it's the first AEW pay-per-view of this calendar year of 2022. It's felt like an age since Full Gear. But, this is how they do it. They do have about 4 pay-per-views a year and stuff like that, and TV specials. And we're going to just get into some previews, some thoughts on the matches and predictions for winners. So let's start with this Face of the Revolution ladder match. It's a number 1 contenders match. The winner will go on to face Sammy Guevara for the TNT Championship. And we've got Keith Lee, Wardlow, Powerhouse Hobbs, Ricky Starks, Orange Cassidy, and Christian Cage in this match. What's your initial thoughts on who would come out as the winner, Ignacio?
Well, first I'll say that all these matches, these are all clusterfucks. And look at who you got in the match, and the dynamics is just off. You got 3 powerhouses, and then the mascot, fucking Orange Cassidy, in there. He's gonna goof off. The only seasoned veteran who probably knows what to do in these types of matches is going to be Christian. Ricky Starks, he's a great talent, but because of the neck injury, I think maybe doesn't really come out on TV often, or doesn't compete often, which is a shame. I wish he would get that fixed, so we could see him more often. I'm very familiar with him. He made the tours in Texas and the independent scene a lot, so I saw him a lot before he reached AEW. But for me, they've been really pushing Wardlow a lot within the past few weeks, and the separation between him and MJF. But I don't think it's his time exactly yet. I think that feud's going to climax right after the Revolution pay-per-view with him and MJF, probably leading up to their next pay-per-view, Double or Nothing. So I don't see him winning it yet. I think you have to let Keith Lee win it, right? Because you bring him in, he has a match, he wins, and then I think he had a match on Rampage, and he won. But so you bring in this new talent, hyped up talent that everybody was excited to see. So if he comes in and loses, that shits on him a little bit, right? Or his momentum, or does it not really matter because it's a ladder match?
This is the thing. A ladder match is a good place to have like a loss, because you're not pinned. Yeah, it's not visually a defeat sort of thing. But I'm very much in favor of what you're saying. I believe Keith Lee should win as well. I feel like one too many times wrestlers have kind of debuted, and or new wrestlers have been brought into these casino battle royals or the ladder matches, and they don't do anything. They don't win, and then they just struggle from there. Keith Lee is someone that everyone's been calling out for. He needs to win, and more so than just winning, I think he needs to go on and actually beat Sammy Guevara. Just to make these ladder matches and these casino battle royals mean something, because we haven't seen anyone that's won one of these actually go on to beat the champion.
Right. So essentially, in that my way of thinking theology, they really don't mean anything.
Yeah, currently they don't, and that's the problem. It'll get to the point where fans are less and less invested in these, and these will make their way to the pre-show, to the buy-in. They won't even be on the main card anymore. So this is what I mean. So someone from this match needs to actually go on and beat the champion now. It's been about 3 years. Come on, let's do it. And to be honest, like you're saying, if not Keith Lee, then for me, Wardlow's the guy. he's been built up very, very well. He's only taken one loss, and I think that was to CM Punk, and we know there was some messing around there when that happened. There was a roll up. Wardlow had the conversation with MJF. I think it was this past week where MJF said, "If you win the TNT title, I'll let you keep it, but you're not going to do that because you're not good enough." He said something like that.
Shit on him,
Where before I think the talk was, if you win that TNT title, it's mine, sort of thing. I'm taking it from you. I think it will be fun. Wardlow winning it, but obviously his primary thing right now is the feud with MJF. Well, that's bubbling away nicely, so that's why I think it's got to be Keith Lee. I don't really think anyone else in this match really stands a chance.
Yeah, well, because if you do, let me mention first about as far as like the match itself, the more people you add to this type of match, the more of a cluster it is. So as far as match quality, you got 3 big guys in there, unless they do it. Look, if you look at ladder matches, I'm not a big fan of big gimmick matches like this. The more people that are in it, the worse they are. But if you look back at Razor and Shawn's match at WrestleMania 10, everybody likes that one. But my favorite one is actually the one they had at SummerSlam the following year, because the first match they used the ladder as a prop, which is what everybody fucking does, because that's why they add like the Jeff Hardys and the high flip flop fuckers in there, because it's a big spot match, right? But in their second match, WWF at the time had a policy or rule or whatever that you couldn't use household appliances. Imagine that today. You couldn't use household appliances as weapons. So it became, the psychology changed, and it became, you have to try to find a way to get to the ladder. So if they try to do the match like that, and they're going to have to, because they got a bunch of big guys in there now, it's going to be like, I got to get to the ladder. Kind of like capture the flag kind of thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then so let me go to as far as winning the match. If you do the process of elimination, Orange Cassidy's the fucking mascot. If they gave him the chance, it'd be a disaster. It'd be a waste. He's a waste. If you go to Powerhouse Hobbs, he won his qualifier. That's the first time I've seen him win a fucking match in 3-4 months.
Yeah.
So him losing, it's not a big deal. So it'd be a mistake at his point for him to give it to him, because he doesn't have any steam behind him. Then you go to Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, he's a great talent. I'd love to see him win, but his scheduling and everything with his injury and so forth, and I don't know how reliable he is. He's a great talent. Every time he gets in the ring, he does very well. But again, somebody with not really a lot of steam behind him, because he hasn't really had a memorable or a significant program on TV for a while. And then you go over to Wardlow. I think he's going to branch off with the feud with MJF. So that just leaves Keith Lee, right? Because Keith Lee really doesn't have anything. He just came in brand new. So I think it's going to be Keith Lee. So my vote is for Keith Lee in this one.
Keith Lee's my vote. The only other thing, like you said, we're both kind of saying the same thing. This is really out of Keith Lee or Wardlow. Keith Lee, my way of thinking is that Keith Lee, it's beginning to bubble away, him versus Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. Like there's something against the Team Taz guys that's happening there. So if he doesn't win, I think it will be at the hands of Team Taz. If Keith Lee does win, he's definitely going to like overpower Team Taz as he wins to kind of make him look bigger. Yeah. So very interesting. Like we said, you make the new guy, look good, let him win, and maybe he actually beats the champion. And this match actually has some meaning after some time now. Let's go into CM Punk versus MJF. This is, like you said, probably the best told story out of the lot coming into this pay-per-view. We saw the past week or the week last week when MJF really kind of broke down and basically put it all on Punk that you've let down everybody and all this kind of stuff. And of course this past week we saw it was just a massive swerve. Everything he said to Punk in terms of that I'm a snake and all of this kind of stuff. This is all Punk's verbiage that Punk had said before. So yeah, just excellent kind of storytelling there. And Punk was just left a complete bloody mess. Yeah. MJF left standing tall. MJF won the first match between these guys. What is your I'm still really scrambled on who's going to win this match. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. It's good. Definitely, it's a must see. This is one of those ones where it's like, damn, which way they're gonna go. But it's just brilliant work on both, both men. Both of their mic skills are off the charts. Their promo skills. MJF is phenomenal. CM Punk has always been phenomenal. It's because they put a lot of themselves, into these promos, and there is a bit of realism in what they say to each other about each other. I mean, everybody knows in real life MJF's a piece of shit, and in some aspects, like a lot of people know that CM Punk's a piece of shit. Because especially to his fans, like you know what it seems like the guys that are the biggest piece of shit to their fans in real life are the guys that get cheered the most.
Yeah,
Eddie Kingston's one of them also. But I mean, man, it's the thing is like if CM Punk loses, he doesn't lose. I mean, he still wins because he's still CM Punk.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And if MJF wins, he wins big. That propels him to another level. Even if he wasn't considered a main event star now, he definitely is after he wins. But it's going to be an interesting psychological affair because, CM Punk knows what he's doing. So does MJF at a very young age. It's going to be a very good competitive match. I think it's going to be a bloody mess. You know what I mean? So it's going to be very interesting to see. I think at the end, and I think it should be MJF that takes it and wins, in my opinion, because now's the time. We need a big time opponent, a big time superstar, a big time heel to take on Hangman Adam Page. We just need somebody. They need somebody now because there is nobody. Kenny Omega left to heal up. All they've been throwing at Hangman Adam Page is a bunch of fillers. And Adam Cole's another one. We'll talk about it later. It's just filler. We need somebody who's been propelled to a big-time main event heel, and I think they need to do that tonight with MJF because I think their world title picture needs some steam.
Yeah, you're totally right with that. And I'll go with MJF as well to get this. Although he has beaten CM Punk before, although he did get the last laugh on the go-home show, I think CM Punk knows the bigger picture. This isn't an ego thing. This is just telling a really good story so that it, like you're saying, takes MJF up to that next gear. And between Double or Nothing and All Out, MJF is going to become world champion. He's going to beat Hangman Page. And these are that he's been taking those little steps, the way they've been booking him, and he doesn't lose at all often. He doesn't wrestle often, but when he does, he often wins. And each of these little steps, this is a monumental step if he overcomes CM Punk. And then he'll have a couple little steps in between. Then he'll get another big win before he gets to the champion. I definitely think he's becoming champion. Like
and and then CM Punk also, he doesn't need to be world champion. He doesn't need the title. I mean, he can. I'm pretty sure eventually he's going to be in the title picture, but he doesn't need the world title. He's CM Punk. He's an attraction, so he can lose this match, still be okay. It might even be a good idea to give him a couple of months a break, maybe up until the next pay-per-view. Again, how am I supposed to miss you if you don't go away for a little while? And I know he was gone for 7 years or whatever, but this be a good time to give him a little break and then put him in another feud with somebody else. And at the same time, propel MJF to that world title picture because, like we were saying, they need some steam in that world title picture. I don't think Adam Page has been he's had great matches. Don't get me wrong. He has great matches, but I don't know. I just don't think the people are behind him as much as they were going up until him chasing the title. I don't think they've stayed with him. And I don't think, his promos are better. He's not the best promo guy, but his promos have absolutely gone better. His leading up to his title win and so forth, but he just doesn't have that pop, that charisma, that it factor that they need in the world champion right now.
I think generally it's hard to book babyface champions anyway.
Sure.
With crowd fans are too smart and all of that kind of stuff. So it is difficult, but like we're saying, MJF win this match, maybe later on this year becomes champion, and who knows, maybe CM Punk gets his win back by beating MJF to become world champion. So that's a story they can continue telling. let's get to some tag action. Firstly, including the tag team champions, Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus defending their title against Redragon, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, and of course the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. To me, this is just a Redragon versus Bucks story. Jurassic Express happen to be the champions, so they have to defend their title. I think their booking in all of this hasn't been great. They just look like they're just there, sort of thing. However, because of the story being told, I'm going to go with Jurassic Express will retain. I think Redragon and Young Bucks will cancel themselves out of it and maybe go on to having a singles tag feud, if you know what I mean. And Jurassic Express will move on to something else. But the Jurassic Express as champions aren't looking great. What do you think about this match?
No, and they fucked themselves by booking them into a corner because the focal point is supposed to be the tag team titles, right? Yep. It's a tag team championship match because of who the tag team champions are and how insignificant they've been and how insignificant their tag team division has been. Everybody says AEW has the best tag team division in the world. Well, compared to who? WWE? Fuck, give me a break. Look who they have over there. New Japan hasn't really paid too much attention to their tag team division or titles in some time in years, you know? Who else? ROH, whatever. You know, it's like saying you're the nicest guy in prison. Fuck. I mean, you know what I mean? Fuck. The focal point's supposed to be the tag team titles, but you know, Red Dragon and the Young Bucks are just canceling themselves out. And plus, it has the fucking Young Bucks in it. I hate these fuckers. They ruin tag team wrestling. They've been ruining tag team wrestling since 10, 12 years ago. It's going to be, I think there's a trios tornado tag team match, right? Also on the card. Well, what the fuck do you think this is going to be? It's going to be another 6-man tag team match because nobody follows the fucking rules. It's going to be a no disqualification match, no DQ match because that's all these triple threat clusterfucks are. You got a fucking dinosaur, a grown man dressing like, infant Tarzan, in Jungle Boy. I like Jungle Boy. But I think it's time to separate him from the goof pack and have him start having a little singles run on his own. You know what I mean? And if you want to I like the position Christian. They have the position Christian in. We haven't seen him in the ring much up until Friday night. If he wants to be mentor, tutor, whatever, it's you Jungle Boy. I think that's good, but I think Jungle Boy has to have a more serious role or gimmick or persona. I think he needs to separate himself from the pack a little bit. I get why they gave Jurassic Express a title because they wanted Jungle Boy to have a title because they like Jungle Boy. Yeah. But fuck, it's embarrassing this stuff that they're doing with these two individuals. No, like I said, nobody has ever said Luchasaurus is a good fucking wrestler. Nobody has ever said that. Please. So, I really don't care too much about that match. I think it's bullshit, but I kind of agree with you. I think the Red Dragon and the Bucks are just going to cancel themselves out, and then we're going to see the dinosaur and the infant Tarzan take the titles home.
Matt Williams says here, find someone who loves you like Ignacio hates everybody. No,
fucking,
you're right.
Where's damn it? I mean, where are the Briscoes who are supposed to be coming in, supposedly? Where's that fucking FTR? Where's fucking, these guys that are supposed
I think that was the missed trick from Tony Khan's big announcement. Once he announced that, literally, like, the Briscoes should have kicked open a door and literally been like, right, where's FTR? And they could have put that match on the card just as, like, to even get people excited for this collaboration, which is going to be between Ring of Honor and AEW. I think they've missed a trick with the pay-per-view being on the weekend.
And I love O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, but I mean, is it just me, or do you also feel like just some steam that they have is just they don't have the steam that they had in NXT? Am I right, or is that just me? Or
you're right. At NXT, if you remember, them lot came in with Adam Cole, all guns blazing, beat up Drew McIntyre on day one, like, and it hasn't been that. This has been like a reunion, like, oh, hi, friend, and
because Bobby Fish came in and it's just like he jobbed to everybody on the fucking card, and then O'Reilly comes in. He's supposed to be a badass. Like, it's just they flopped that, you know. And I know where they're headed. You know where they're headed. Everybody knows where they're headed. They're headed towards like an Adam Cole, you know, faction against eventually a Kenny Omega deal. And now they're saying, I read somewhere, it was in Wrestling Republic, that they're waiting. Tony Khan is waiting to introduce the trios tag team titles and for Kenny Omega to come back. So that's going to be the main feud for that title. And it's just, everybody knows where it's headed, but I just, because of what they've done with Red Dragon and the booking of Adam Cole, I just don't think it just doesn't have the steam it's supposed to have behind it, because the booking for them has been just so fucking atrocious.
Yeah, that's like a right way to feel. It's true.
We're doing pretty good, Mekz. We're doing pretty good. We're not disagreeing on anything.
Yeah, not yet.
On something eventually. Damn.
Let's see. We've got some matches left.
All right.
Let's go past this one quickly. Not spend too much time, because this is a mess. The AHFO, Andrade, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Sting. I like seeing Sting. I like how he comes in and wrestles and does his bit every now and again. It's not overkill. But with these, Sammy Guevara, Darby, Andrade had a great match on Rampage for the TNT Championship. The TNT Championship, once again, isn't being defended at a pay-per-view. Instead, they're having a 6-man match. I will just go with Sammy, Darby, and Sting winning. What's your thoughts on this, and who do you think is going to win?
I think look, you know how I feel about the triple threats and stuff like that, and the one they had on Rampage. Look, it was for what it was. It was a good match, but I think they should have had that match on the pay-per-view. I think it would have been given more appeal to fans, more appealing to fans who do enjoy their work. But I mean, I like Darby Allin. I used to like Sammy Guevara, you know, not so much anymore. Got an attitude now to him, but you know, and he's another spot guy that I wish he would just get away from that. Wow the crowd with what you can do in your ring work, not the fucking high spots. If he's just stuck with that, I'd love the guy. But I mean, you know, I think they would have benefited more having that triple threat match on the pay-per-view and not the, you know, this match. I wasn't a big Sting guy. I enjoy the nostalgia of seeing Sting. I think whatever he has, the limitations he has with what he does, is great. I like the way they use him. They're using him a lot better than they did in WWE, that's for sure. But I mean, I think what they do with him is great. I was a fan of the first Sting, the Surfer Sting, what have you, not so much as the Crow Sting, but I still love seeing him. I like Darby because everybody says, what, you don't like high flying, but you like fucking Darby. That's because fucking Darby, whatever he does is kind of like what Rob Van Dam did. He went 100 miles a fucking hour with everything.
Real.
It is fucking real. All right. He kicks your ass. But I mean, I mean, it's going to be a win for Darby and Sammy and Sting. And then we'll just see what they go from there. Another CFO, CFO clusterfuck, you know.
100%. Let's move on. This is like a big exhibition match, I would say. Brian Danielson versus Moxley. Danielson wanted Moxley to come alongside him, coach some of the young guns in AEW. Moxley said he's not for it, but he's not against it. But if he has to join sides with someone, he needs to bleed with them first. And here we are at this, like I say, really high profile exhibition match. I expect Moxley to win. Brian Danielson, would this be two high profile losses too close to each other? One could argue that, but I think, you know, Moxley is like one of the big faces and one of the big earners as well for AEW. I can't see him losing here. This is like his kind of big return match as well since he's returned. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Moxley here. What's your thoughts?
Well, I think story wise, what they're doing is kind of it's a little, I don't want to say confusing because I know where they're headed, but as far as what are their stakes, as far as like who wins and who loses. So if Moxley loses, then he's going to be forced to join Daniel Bryan or what have you. So it's a little bit kind of like off center as far as like, you know, stakes and so forth and story, but I like it. I like both guys. I'm going to go the other way and say that I think it's a good way for them to go would be like Moxley loses. And then he's like, man, I just came back from rehab sobriety. I did everything I could do. You know, I've been in matches, I've won, but then I lose to a main event guy, to a top contender, a guy that I was with in WWE. Maybe they'll have him like reevaluate himself. You know what?
Yeah.
maybe I need to make the choice. Maybe I do need to join Bryan Danielson. Maybe I need somebody's further help, somebody's guidance to help me, and we can join a faction together and train the young guys and form and take all the titles in AEW. I like to see it go that route. But as far as match quality, look, both guys can work. It's going to be a tremendous match. I think it's just one of those matches where the story's just not really clear on stakes and where they want to go. But it's going to be a tremendous match.
Yeah, this it pretty much seems to be stake-wise. It's kind of like just a respect thing. Like Moxley may win and then come out and be like, okay, you gave it a good go, so let's link up. Yeah. Or Bryan Danielson might lose and go off on one, and we'll see. You kind of have to see the fallout before you kind of know the direction of what this is. Cool. Let's move on. This next match, kind of splits opinion. It's Chris Jericho versus Eddie Kingston. We saw Chris Jericho with a lot of the same verbiage that we saw Bryan Danielson giving Kingston, that we've seen CM Punk giving Kingston, that, you always lose the big one. You're not really supposed to be doing this as a professional wrestler, and this, that, and the other. Everyone giving Eddie a hard time. I believe the stipulation here, or if Eddie Kingston wins, he'll win Jericho's respect and Jericho will shake his hand or something like that. But more than anything for me, I think Eddie Kingston. So where I was last week is that Eddie Kingston needs a big win. He was in like every pay-per-view match last year and lost every single one. Like, he is due a big win. And even though he was over last year, I think he's over even more now at this point. Yeah. However, that story of, Santana and Ortiz is still bubbling in the background. Mm-hmm. And I'm just thinking, does Chris Jericho... I thought Eddie Kingston was going to win this, but I'm thinking now, does Chris Jericho win? And then, Pride and Powerful come out and beat him up? Or I don't know. Like, what's your thoughts on this?
I wish Eddie Kingston had a different opponent. It's just because if he beats Jericho, is it a big win? Is it a big win if he fucking beats Jericho?
It's a big name win, isn't it? Like,
well, I mean, it's like if Eddie Kingston, probably the real life Eddie Kingston thinks like, fuck your respect. I don't need your fucking respect. You've been fucking integrating this company ever since you lost the fucking title. So fuck you. That's probably what he thinks in real life. But I mean, yeah, I agree with you, Eddie. He has a tremendous fucking following. I mean, he gets the biggest pop on Dynamite or Rampage or wherever show he's on. And I know he went on social media, maybe it has been a few weeks, saying that he wanted to kind of change his habits, his lifestyle or whatever. Yeah. He wanted to quit smoking and drinking and start taking better care of himself so he can maybe be considered for a world title run. If he's not if that wasn't serious, he should be serious about it. And Tony Khan should be serious about it, because this guy has some fucking steam, because he's good on the mic. His in-ring work isn't probably what it was 10, 12 years ago or whatever. But I mean, his persona, his delivery, he's a character babyface who can work, especially if he has a good worker with him. Yeah. We've seen that with Bryan Danielson and CM Punk. But now, if he would have beat one of those guys, I think that would have propelled him to a major main event level prospect. But, he beats Jericho. It's just a big name win. But where they go with Eddie Kingston from there? You know what I mean? So, I mean, does he get back in a program with Bryan Danielson? Does he get back in a program with John Moxley? Or who does he face next? Who's that person that's going to propel him to the main event level, to a possible title match? You know what I mean? So, is it going to be Bryan Danielson or CM Punk again, or who else is he going to beat from there? So that's why I think that they're going to go with the fucking bullshit fucking answer and go with Chris Jericho beating Eddie Kingston, because he's going to shit on his fucking steam and his push and just do the Jericho thing and just have him lay it down and shit in his mouth. And there goes fucking Eddie Kingston off.
I'll stick to my thoughts from last week, my instinct, and I'll say Eddie Kingston. But I'll say Eddie Kingston for the win. But I definitely do think something to do with Santana Ortiz is going to happen somewhere in this match. So, and
you got I'll say this. I mean, I would love to see Eddie Kingston get the big push that I'll say that he deserves. Definitely. especially the work he's done there since he's been in AEW. It's got to be now. And the reason why I say that is because, he is older. He is in his early 40s, I believe. So he's not a spring chicken.
But by the end of this year, at a minimum, he needs to be TNT champion.
Correct.
At a minimum. Like, it'll be a joke if he hasn't been.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Cool. Let's talk about the TBS Championship. We've got the champion, Jade Cargill, defending against Ty Conti. Jade Cargill has looked like a beast for weeks now since, they put the title on her. She's growing in confidence. They're still going with the undefeated streak, which I think is at like 28-0 right now. Tay Conti stood forward to challenge her. Jade has more or less, apart from this last week on Rampage, got the best of Ty Conti. Not just calling her a bitch, saying her karate shit and everything, which has been pretty entertaining. But Ty got her with a kick this past week on Rampage and floored her. Jade Cargill's running through this division. I don't see Ty Conti. Ty Conti and her will have a good match. Ty Conti's not like a over-experienced worker herself. Obviously, she had previous with NXT, then she's come to AEW, so she's got more years of experience than Jade. But she's not like she's wrestling a 10-year veteran or anything. Yeah. But I think they've put her with Ty to give her a good kind of run for her money before Jade eventually overcomes. So yeah, I'm going with Jade defending her championship and winning here. What about yourself?
Well, I'll say first that, man, it just seems like every promo or whatever they do in the women's deal division is just it gets worse and worse. But damn, I think Jade's gonna take it. I loved what they've been doing with Jade, but her matches that I heard somewhere online that she had been working with Bryan Danielson, and she's trying, but it's just. She tries some things, and it's just like I saw her last match on was it Rampage or whatever. She tried a couple of reversal stuff, and it's just like you can tell she's still learning. She's struggling a bit, but yeah, she needs to stick with a big girl quote unquote style, like a Raquel Gonzalez and her style. And I think if she just stuck with that, she'd be more than fine. She doesn't have to be the mat technician or anything like that. She just has to work a big girl, dare I say, WWE style, whatever. Yeah, and she'll just do just fine because her character work is developing. What she looks like $1 million. Her character work is going to be just fine. She's getting better at promos. She's getting more comfortable. Yeah. Forget about the stuff that she actually says, because a lot of this it's scripted for her, whatever. She might have some intuition into it, and I'm pretty sure she does, but she's a lot more confident. That's what's important. Yeah. So I think the way they've been building her is great. I think they should keep the undefeated streak up to build her and then build another baby face to accommodate her at the end to take that title off her eventually. But yeah, I think she takes the win tonight. I don't think she Tay Conti beating her tonight.
Yeah,
no way.
Yeah. I think in the background, like you just said, they need to build a baby face to beat her, and I think that person should be Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander is someone that is of the same like physical build, so it'll be somewhat believable. And she's a face, because I'm looking around that division and I'm thinking, really and truly, unless they're bringing someone in,
that's
who else could it be?
Like well, who's available now? I mean, we got like Toni Storm.
Toni Storm will be available once her 90 days is up. Tegan Knox is
Tegan Knox,
same again. Ember Moon, Athena, she's already started wrestling on the indies and stuff.
And
but she's a heel on the indies.
Let me ask you this, because maybe you would know. Deonna Purrazzo lost her Impact title last night. Is that correct? Is her contract?
I don't know.
Is her contract coming up or something?
I don't think so. I'm not. Oh no, Deonna Purrazzo. Yeah, her contract's up in April.
There you go. I mean, what an addition that would be to their fucking roster. They need the help. I mean, I love Deonna Purrazzo. I mean, she's a genius in the ring, and she has a great personality. So maybe it might be somebody like her coming in. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah, her contract's up in a matter of months. So yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's
What do
talk
we
about
got?
the other women's match. Britt Baker
Okay.
defending the women's title against Thunder Rosa, which we previously mentioned at the top of the show. You said you're looking forward to this. You're looking forward to seeing Thunder Rosa in action. The Britt Baker train is slowly, people are beginning to lose a lot of interest. However, at the same time, this would have been, for me, a good time to do the switch of the titles, but they haven't built this story to anywhere near the amount of heat as this story had, at this time last year when they had their lights out match. There was rumors earlier this week that Thunder Rosa is carrying an injury. However, she's still going to put on the match. For that reason, and the fact that there's just little heat going into this match, I'm actually going to go with Britt Baker defending the title. What's your thoughts on this?
I didn't know that about the injury, but it doesn't have the magic that it did when they had their hardcore match.
The lights out.
What is it? Is it been a little bit over a year already?
Yeah, maybe? That lights out match was in February last year.
And then in between then, they've had putting little obstacles in front of Thunder Rosa to keep her from the championship, and the stuff that's been happening in recent months has been a little nonsensical or a little hokey or whatever. But I thought this was going to be be Thunder Rosa's time, because like I said, I agree that the Britt Baker train seemed like it's slowing down a little bit, and maybe she needs to. I was thinking they're going to give Thunder the win in the title and then give the doctor a break. The doctor's gonna stop taking house calls or whatever. But I mean, I think it's a good time to give her a little bit of a break, because I think she is losing a little bit of steam. She doesn't have the magic that she had when she won the title back at Double or Nothing last year. So I think it's time to give the Dr. Britt Baker a little bit of. But now you're saying, if Thunder has an injury and going forward she wins the title, she's not going to be able to be on TV or make dates or matches or dynamites or rampages, that's going to be an issue. So I'm going to say, I don't know what's the severity of the injury. What is it? Is a knee injury or something? Or
I'm not sure the severity. It must not be too bad, because obviously she can wrestle. However, they said that she picked it up in the tag match that happened at Dynamite on Wednesday.
Okay. Well, then look, if it's something that can be nursed through within a couple of weeks or something like that, then I think Thunder Rosa takes the title tonight. And I think that's the direction where they need to go, because Thunder Rosa, she's a great personality. I've met her and seen her wrestle several times. She's one of the great talents that can tell that she actually loves her fans. And every time I've gone to an AEW show, whenever they've been here in Texas, she gets like the biggest pop. But usually it's not on the main show. She's on the before show, the Rampage or the Dark or whatever. But she gets the biggest pop in the whole arena. So I think there's a fan base that they still need to touch on as far as Thunder Rosa, where they can go, and I think she can lead that women's division to something spectacular. Because look who they're building up on Rampage that Thunder Rosa needs to get a win over, Serena Deeb. So there's her first challenger right there. So I'm gonna say that she's gonna take the title tonight.
Cool. And last but not least, the World Championship, the AEW World Championship. Adam Page defending against Adam Cole.
Adam versus Adam.
Adam versus Adam. Adam Cole, the person that brought Adam Page into Bullet Club back in the days of Ring of Honor as well. So that's some history they haven't really touched on, their past Bullet Club stuff. However, it's just pretty much been Adam Cole has worked his way into the position of being number one contender. And he's coming after Adam Page. The other story being told at the back of this is, again, Redragon got Adam Cole's back. The Bucks haven't quite got the back of Hangman Page, not publicly, but they're kind of, you could say they're ultimately taking his side. Yeah. This is Adam Page's third or fourth title defense. He had 2 against Danielson, 1 against Lance Archer. Now we have Adam Cole. I guess we all expect Adam Page to retain here and go on to a new competitor afterwards.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, the storytelling for this match, and then the booking of Adam Cole, just it hasn't been done very well. The story hasn't been told very well. Like I said, they've touched up on the history of the Bullet Club and all that stuff, but not enough to where fans would really understand, unless you followed them for the past 10 years or whatever, or the 8 years. You really don't know what's going on. They haven't they haven't done a good job of telling the story. You have new fans that just started watching this stuff that might have been fans of New Japan or WWE, and then they just started watching AEW, and they're like, well, what's going on here? I really don't know the story behind all this or the significance of it. They used to be together back in the day in Japan, but then they got mad at each other, and then they were in ROH, and so whatever. So they haven't done a good job following up. And then the booking of Adam Cole, what makes Adam Cole the number one contender? Who has he really beat? Every time I saw him, he was getting jacked up in the ring or fucked up by a semi jobber, and you're telling me, and I think I mentioned it a few weeks ago, you're telling me that Adam Cole in a match where you can do anything you want, no rules whatsoever, couldn't beat Orange Cassidy?
Yeah.
Oh fuck. I mean, so everything about this program has just been so wrong and done wrong and played out just wrong. It's supposed to be a better buildup than what it is. That's what's disappointing. But I mean, are they gonna have a good match? Yeah, I mean, Adam Page has great matches. Adam Cole knows how to put on it. He's a great worker, but it's just the story behind it is just what's fucked up.
Yeah, like you said, if you saw this on paper, like Adam Page versus Adam Cole, you'd think, oh, this is going to be good, sort of thing. And like you're saying, it will be good. It's just everything that's happened until this point hasn't really
had fire on it. Yeah,
had fire under it. It's been good. It's been okay. I feel like Adam Page has looked a lot better as a champion than he did going into the Lance Archer match than he did against Danielson. Yeah. He's looked more of a champion, but yeah, this isn't quite the masterpiece like CM Punk MJF. It isn't anywhere near that level as it kind of should be. But on the night, I'm sure we'll get a really, really good match.
Well, I know we're pressed for time here, but let's make a prediction on what match. Given what you just said, what match do you think is going to close the show?
It's got to be the world title.
It's going to be the world title.
Yeah. It's got to be the world title match. Yeah. Punk and MJF would be good, but it's got to be.
I think I'm gonna say that match is gonna close the show.
Okay.
I'll say, and then the world title will be second to last.
We shall see. Revolution hours away. Looking forward to it. But guys, that is today's show. We appreciate you guys for joining us. Please remember to smash that like button if you're watching on YouTube, and subscribe to Wrestling Republic as well. We'll be back same time next week talking all the fallout from Revolution and Dynamite. One last prediction. Anyone you think's debuting tonight?
A debuting?
Yeah.
Ooh. No. What's the story?
I'll say Swerve. Apparently he signed his AEW contract some time ago. So I assume his 90 days is up. Well, it is up because he's been wrestling everywhere else. So this might be the night we see Swerve. Maybe some of these female talents that we were talking about before, Toni Storm and Ember Moon, maybe. We'll see how it goes. But
yeah. I don't see any debuts tonight. We would have heard some inkling about it. I haven't heard anything. So, nope.
Cool.
Hopefully, it's just not a total shit show.
No, it won't be. It won't be. It'll be decent. Cool. All right then, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.